Hello, citizens of YouTube land.
Hey,
It's your president and your VP back once again with another movie review. And as always, if you want to become a citizen of YouTube land, all you have to do is hit that subscription button below. With that being said, today's episode is, well, kind of, I guess, a special edition, wouldn't you say?
yeah,
Special edition of I Love This Movie. And today's feature is The Little Giants. Or rather, Little Giants, not the Little Giants, but rather just Little Giants.
it's Little Giants, yeah.
Yeah. Be more enthusiastic. I know you just got off work,
I'm
but
sorry,
come
Dad.
on.
I'm sorry.
You can hype up a bit. We're talking about this movie.
I'm sorry, okay?
Yeah, he started work today, guys. He's a little exhausted, but we have to kind of get these things out a bit. So, with that being said, Little Giants is a movie that premiered October 14th, 1994. It was produced for $20 million. It made back $19.3 million on the box office. Now, with that also being said, this has a approval rating of 36% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, I don't normally really say this, but in this case, Rotten Tomatoes can go suck its ass. Because, movies are just objective anyways, guys. They really are. And in our opinion, this is a really good movie. It actually is.
Yeah.
It stars Rick Moranis, who had a series of hits from Ghostbusters to Spaceballs to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, a whole host of things. Everybody knows and loves Rick Moranis.
And sadly, he won't be in Ghostbusters Afterlife.
No, he won't. But there is good news, though, which I'm really excited about, and I hope I can kind of pump him up about.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll cover him in the future. But there's going to be another sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids after all these years, and he's coming back. So that's great, great news. Also, he had appeared in Little Shop of Horrors in the 1980s as well. So there's that as well.
Yeah.
Also stars Ed O'Neill, who really rose to fame as Al Bundy. And long-term fans of 90s movies and stuff will also remember him as having a part in Wayne's World. A very prominent part, actually, in the diner scene. Now, having all said that,
Oh, by the way, that character is from Married with Children. You forgot to add that fact in, Dad.
Yeah, well, most people are going to know. Okay.
Well, what about the people who don't know? Like the younger people in
I
our
guess,
audience?
but you got to remember. Okay, whatever. That's the
You have to remember that we also have younger people in the audience.
I
that
guess
don't
we
know
do.
that.
Yeah,
They don't know the
We're
character
slowly
of
gaining
Al
some
Bundy.
traction here. We're not that worried about it though.
No.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Getting back on the
We
subject.
grow big,
of
we
things,
grow big.
Devon Sawa also appears in the movie, and
Say no more. I got this.
okay,
Devon Sawa, he's a pretty famous actor. He was in one of my personal favorite movies, Night of the Twisters, which is a 1996 made-for-TV disaster movie, which I think is way better than Twister, which I actually just might do a review on that movie alone, covering as an I hate this movie, because I do absolutely hate that movie. And you may remember him from a little-known horror movie called Final Destination.
yeah,
Oh yeah, and he was also in a teen pot smoking horror movie as well called Idle Hands,
yeah.
which is a very low movie that nobody even heard about until I didn't even hear about it until James covered it for a kill count.
Yeah, on Dead Meat. Shout out to him. Cool channel. Guys, check him out if you haven't. If you're into horror movies, check him out. Good YouTube channel. Also, he had appeared in Casper, too. So,
Oh yeah, he was in Casper. I forgot to mention that.
yeah,
I'm
he
sorry.
was in a kind of a host of these 90s movies. And people my age might also remember him from those old Nerf gun commercials as well. He was in some of those.
Wow.
Yeah, You know, everybody gets their start somewhere, right, guys? So, having said all that, the movie is about. It starts with two brothers who are heading off to basically what amounts to a pickup football game in a field. One is obviously very athletic, and the other brother is very kind of reserved, and let's call him what he is. He's a nerd. You
Yeah.
know? He doesn't really fit as far as sports goes. And so he gets cast out basically and lives in his lives. I flubbed up there a little bit there. He lives in his brother's shadow. I know the common phrase is lives in his father's shadow or whatever. That's why I flubbed up. Anyway,
Yeah.
he puts
No
himself
worries
on
there,
the
Dad.
injured list because he doesn't get picked to play in the pickup game. And there's a little girl there named Patty who asks why he didn't get to play, and he says, "Well, I'm on the injured list." And this kind of foreshadows what's to come many, many, many years later, because as it turns out, approximately 30 years later, he the town has worshipped the older brother because he was a phenomenal football star. Now, saying that, Ed O'Neill was actually a really good choice to play this part because the Al Bundy character lives on his football memories, first of all. Second of all, and a lot of people may not know this, but Ed O'Neill was a pretty standout football player at Youngstown State. So he was a really good choice for this role of
Yeah.
Kevin O'Shea.
Yeah.
And Rick Moranis is a bit on the wild side, and you totally envision him in the Danny O'Shea character as well.
Well, Dad, he's Rick Moranis. You can envision him in any role, okay?
Yeah, especially a quirky oddball film like this one is.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so,
Spaceballs.
so Rick Moranis, Danny O'Shea, has a daughter named Becky, who is actually the best player in all of the town as far as Pee Wee football concerns. Yeah, this thing's about Pee Wee football, which a lot of people played Pee Wee football when they were younger, so they can kind of relate to this a little bit too.
Yeah.
Um, having said that, he Kevin O'Shea runs the Pee Wee football team. He is the head coach of the Pee Wee football team, and he's a bit egocentric because he has the gall to basically name his football team after the Dallas Cowboys, and they even look like miniature Dallas Cowboys with their uniforms.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Had to clear my throat there. So
Which kind of reminds me, Dad. I forgot, where does the Little Giants take place?
it takes place. I don't think if they ever actually state the name of the town, but it takes place in Ohio.
Urban or Urbana?
Urbana. That's the name of the town.
Yeah.
Or Urbana. I don't know if that's a real place, but it should be
probably
because
isn't.
it was portrayed as a really nice looking town as well too. To a typical Midwestern suburban type of town.
Yeah.
So he coaches the local Pee Wee football team, and he actually cuts Becky because, well, she's a girl. That's why. You know, he's a little bit sexist, and there's some of that goes on. But remember, guys, this was 26 years ago. So for those of you out there who might think that yada, 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 blah, 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 you know what I'm saying about how gender equality, whatever. I'm kind of in favor of that too, but here's the deal. If you're going to play football, you can expect to get hurt. Period.
Yeah.
So accept and expect the consequences.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, she's actually like the best tackler, the best thrower, the best runner, the best everything, but she gets cut because she's a girl. She can literally actually beat up everybody else and every other kid in town. She's that tough.
Yeah.
And a mad respect
people call
for
her the Icebox.
Yeah, she's got that intimidating nickname, actually, because she's basically like built like an ice box in a way. But that stems from Danny having to raise her kind of basically as a boy because her mom left them when they were when she was much younger. So they never really had her around. So he raised her as such. Kevin is portrayed somewhat as the bad guy. You know, he's a little bit egocentric, but
He's
he's
not the
also
bad guy.
not really the bad guy because he has.
I would say a more suitable villain for Little Giants would be Spike and his father.
Yeah, Spike is a roid rage, and we're going to get to him. He's a roid
Yeah.
rager kind of kid. I mean, this kid actually looks like he should be in high school, not freaking 10, 11 years old, pee-wee football. So, Becky gets cut, and then there's some other kids. You know, there's one kid that, you know, the types, from the stereotypes basically. There's the kid that has the allergies, who never really gets out, you know, who's stuck at home, whatever. There's the nerdy kid that's not going to play football, but will help with the plays. There's the fat kid that makes farting noises throughout the whole thing. You know, the ragtag misfits that you always see in these things. But
Yeah,
it's actually great because a
Little
lot
Giants,
of us are outcasts. Let's face it.
Little Giants in general is similar to The Sandlot, which we've covered on I Love This Movie as our very first episode, actually.
Yeah.
But it's very similar to that, both with the ragtag team of misfits, really.
Now, again, so because these kids can't play with the Cowboys, they convince Danny to start another team. Now, there is a rule in Ohio, I guess, at this time that there can't be more than one football team per town to play in Pee Wee football. So they have to have this big game, okay? Now, no, not the Dallas Cowboys, excuse me. They do look exactly like the Dallas Cowboys, guys. They do.
Hey, Dad, I understand your flub up there, so I won't make
Which
fun
they
of you
actually
for
make
that.
an appearance later, which is really cool. And the iconic John Madden has a cameo in the movie as well. So, anyways, the Urbana Cowboys, you know, they have to fight. They have to play the Little Giants in this winner take all one team type of thing. Now it shows the typical stuff of these kids. You know, the Giants, they don't have money, period. So they get these hand me downs that are from like, you know, 1920s. I'm actually surprised they aren't wearing leather helmets and stuff. You know, as dirt poor as they're portrayed to be. And you get the classic stuff of the kids tripping and falling down. And there's this one scene where they try to make it across these monkey bars, right? And they all typically fall down. And then the fat kid gets up there. And you know where the joke's going. You know where it's going.
You know where the joke is going. I couldn't keep myself from that.
And then there's another scene.
We need to be quieter, Dad.
Yeah, there's another scene that's a bit risque in the movie where Kevin and his assistant coach, who happen to actually be teammates from his own pickup game. I don't know if you caught that, but
Yeah, I caught that.
he's actually like a really big jerk, and they kind of get their comeuppance. He does anyway, and actually Kevin does too, in a way that's absolutely hilarious. I'll have to talk about that. There's a scene where he's in like his living room or upstairs study or something, and he's trying to teach the Cowboys how to tackle the icebox. So he has this like drawing of her, and he has his
on a
wife.
couch cushion, by the way.
He has his wife like pretend to be the icebox, right? And the kids go and they bounce off of the wife, right? Well, he goes to show him how it's done. He gets in the 3-point stance. He made this big, fast talking speech about, men, this is the icebox. This is the enemy. You get down like this, and you go, whoa, He tackles the couch cushion, but his wife had let go, and he goes right through the window.
Yeah, he goes right through the window because Dad had just got broke. So, Dad, I'm going to take it from here. Okay, you continue laughing. So he goes right through the window, and then he lands right between the legs, by the way, and there's like this really wonky, like cartoony sound effect that plays from it, the toom, and then he's like, ah, and he falls over straight into the pool, and then later on, hold on. Later on in the next scene, his wife and his children are both rewatching it.
Because it was caught on camera. It was caught on camera. And they can't stop laughing either. They're rewinding it and going back. So anyways, the scene that I was talking about that's pretty risque, that's actually super funny too. He goes to spy on Danny and the team, right? With his assistant coach.
Yes, let's do this.
This is a little bit risque for a 90s kids movie, okay? Because the little nerdy kid spots him and says, hey, we have spies. So Danny gets on the phone and calls the police. And he pretends to be a little old grandma. And he's like, hello? Police? Yeah, there are two men in the bushes, and they're naked, and I don't know what they're doing, and they're frightening the kids. And he hands the phone to one of his players, and his player's like, ah. So then it shows a headline of him being arrested for a peeping Tom.
Me and Dad had just got.
Now
broken,
Becky
guys.
actually develops a crush on Devon Sawa's character because it turns out that Junior is a standout quarterback type of kid. And they also have the kid that can't catch, the easiest black kid that's really fast, but he can't catch. And Junior helps build up his confidence, actually, as a leader of the team, because he goes and he throws this, he throws toilet paper and the kid can catch it, so that's what they end up practicing with. And so with that being said, Becky develops a crush on Junior, but it turns out that Junior's mom is actually the little girl Patty from the beginning of the movie. So we kind of have a parallel situation here. There's some people might seem and find like that it's creepy, but I don't really look at it that way too much because they're not related. So, I mean, if Becky and Junior were to kind of get together, which Danny and Patty do kiss at the end of the movie, it's kind of a sweet moment too.
Yeah, but I feel like for the kids' sake, they wouldn't actually, get together if you kind of know what I mean.
They might not, but on the same hand, so they end up with this big game, and we do need to talk about Spike, because Spike, like I said earlier, this kid looks like he should be in high school.
Yeah.
The dad is also a roid freak, like a Marine drill sergeant type of guy, and he's super into Pee Wee football for some reason. Like, this guy has been grooming his kid. He talks about how he was making his kid at 3 months old push a football across the floor with his nose. Now I gotta say, who the hell does that? Okay, this guy was obviously psychotic.
Remember, guys, we've strayed away from the kid-friendly content we used to do at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right?
So, I mean, we're not going to go full-fledged here or anything.
We're not going to go full-fledged AVGN mode on you.
No, we're definitely not. But I did have to throw that out there. And Danny had been able to basically get Spike, and then Spike, of course, he doesn't work out well, and they end up Kevin ends up getting him on his team. And because this kid is so roid raged up, and listens to his dad tells him to take Junior out after the Little Giants.
Yes.
Who they fall behind 21-0 at halftime, and then they start to make a comeback. And the dad tells Junior to take him out. And this is where Kevin kind of has a little bit of redemption as well too. Like I said, he's fast talking. He's a bit egocentric, but he also has this speech with his niece where he's really just kind of looking out for what's best for her in a way. And
then he says to Spike's father, he's like, hey, if your kid does that again, is going to be pulled out of the game. And he's like, "What? I thought you wanted to win this." He's like, "Yeah, but not like that."
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious that he's that kind of guy. You know, he might be super competitive, but deep down at its heart, he's a good guy who cares about his family. So, of course, they have this big play at the end where it's essentially a fumble rooski, guys. For those of you in football, what you do, it's illegal in the NFL, but it can be used in high school and in the college level. But it's usually used for like a short term yardage situation. Now, I would also have to point out that as they use the fumble rooski, and the heavy set fat kid who is farting all the time is an offensive lineman, probably the actual center if I remember correctly. He picks up the football as the quarterback had fumbled the ball. Basically just put it down and they begin running a play, to throw him off. And so the lineman picks up the football. He doesn't even make it to the 50-yard line because you hear the, stereotypical thing of fat kids. And he actually just chucks the football behind, which anybody who's played football, my son would be able to tell you this, you would never do.
No.
You would never, ever just blindly throw the football. Woof! The Giants'
you're
managed
supposed to throw it forwards because if you throw it backwards, it's kind of technically an illegal pass. And
no, actually, a backward lateral is legal.
Yeah, but not like in.
But once you go past the line of scrimmage, it's not legal.
Yeah.
You can't do that. But they managed to do that, and they do lateral passes.
He was already past the line of scrimmage, though.
Yeah.
So it
was technically
illegal.
an illegal play, but they were able to do it. And now, on the other hand, concerning the Cowboys, why would you defend the line of scrimmage when the other team has 99 yards to go? Wouldn't you, of course, back up and try to defend for a Hail Mary pass? Because there's 99 yards, 4 seconds left. Somehow they managed to get this trick play off. The Giants win. Feel-good moment. Actually, it's really great, guys, like I said. And there's this bet that they have about a gas station and a car dealership.
Dad, tell him about the scene with Spike's dad. He's like, what's that cheerleader doing out on the field?
Yeah. So, of course, getting back to it, how we had talked about it, the Becky gets mad, okay, like really mad, and she suits up because she had actually become a cheerleader in the hopes of impressing Junior. She gets mad because Junior gets hurt, so she suits up, and they ask, "What's that cheerleader doing on the football field?" And Kevin knows what's up. He says, "That ain't no cheerleader. That's my niece Becky," and she's pissed.
By the way, this is a PG-rated movie. Okay?
Yeah, there was actually, it's kind of dark in a way. But, we're going to kind of wrap this up now, guys. My final rating for this is 4.5 out of 5. What say you?
Why 4.5?
I don't know. I just threw it out there.
I thought it'd be a perfect 5 out of 5.
Okay, he's influenced me enough. 5 out of 5 stars, guys. We found it on Hulu.
Yeah, it was Hulu.
You can check it out on Hulu. It's also available on DVD and I think maybe even Blu-ray too.
Yeah, I got a Blu-ray release.
What's your rating?
5 out of 5 as well.
So, we're in agreement on this one. Total score, 5 out of 5. Now, as always, I have to throw it in there. You know I do. If you think that Little Giants is the absolute worst film that you've ever seen and you could not possibly imagine watching it again, well, that's your opinion. You're entitled to it, and you are wrong, like he says. But you are entitled to it.
Do not trust Rotten Tomatoes.
Remember, guys, as always, too, we're just two idiots with a cell phone camera. Our opinions do not matter, except they actually do, because we have a YouTube show, except they actually don't. So, with that being said, once again, guys, we appreciate everybody that watches this. We want to throw that out there. We are gaining slowly but surely some new subscribers. And if you are new to this channel, we encourage you to check out everything else that we've done. You know, it does take a lot of guts for us to even get up here and do this, because a lot of people wouldn't. I know that YouTube does have lots of people that will do YouTube stuff, but I admire anybody that puts themselves out there for the world to see. So there's that as well, guys. Now, having said that, as always, remember, peace and love from Denny and Son. And
Bye.
what do we got going next time?
The Polar Express.
Next time it's going to be Polar Express. We're going to start some Christmas stuff pretty soon and try to get that out to you guys as quickly as possible before Christmas gets here. And next month,
Walker Texas Ranger Wary. Big announcement here before we end this. Tune in on, what is it? January 21st, 2021. Me and Dad here will be doing a live review of the Walker Reboot TV series. And all month before that, we will be doing a season review of all seasons of Walker Texas Ranger. I couldn't speak there, Dad.
yeah, we'll probably have to actually get started right around Christmas to get through all of it, because there's 8 seasons, and I think
A TV movie.
and
Right.
there's also a major motion picture, Lone Wolf McQuade, that we'll have to cover as well.
We'll cover that one first, and then
And
get
probably a couple of other Chuck Norris movies. So we're going to be doing that next month. We had decided on that. We originally were going to do something else, but with the announcement of that, we're going to do that. So hopefully you guys will enjoy what we put out for that. And as always, we'll see you next time.
like I said, tune in January 21st.
Bye, guys.
Bye.